want to thank the Lord for yet another wonderful opportunity to hear Him talk to us. And so, without wasting any more time, I want to let you know that I am bringing everything that the Lord is saying, even when it concerns me as a person. And today, in this message, because I look for every means to convince you that it is God that has been talking and is talking and will be talking through me always, so that you will not be lost, so that you will not be destroyed. And so today I have to bring the discussion that the Lord had with Satan the devil. And the devil has made up his mind to destroy and to end the word of God, the warning through me. The Lord stood on my behalf. You will hear the reply of God to Satan the devil. All this is in a bid to convince you that it is God Himself who is talking through me, and it's the word of God. And so today, by the grace of God, I bring you a message titled, Your Decision Determines Your End. Your decision determines your end. And so in life, whatever decision you make, of course, you know the result of whatever decision you make. And so when you take a decision, it is the decision you have taken that will lead you to wherever you are going to end. And that is why the Lord Himself is saying, your decision determines your end. Genesis chapter 24. Genesis chapter 24. I read verse number 58. Genesis chapter 24, verse number 58. And it says, And they called Rebekah and said unto her, Wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they called Rebekah and said unto her, Wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. Now, you know the story. Abraham wanted a wife for his son Isaac, and Isaac called his servant Eliezer and said, Go to my people. Say, go to my people. Don't take a wife for my son from among the Canaanites where we dwell. That is to say, go to my people. Go to people of like faith and get a wife for my son. Not like today, where we have all manner of people, all marriages of any kind, and that's why marriages are breaking without remorse. And that is why families are breaking and that's why the enemy is destroying families. Why? Because they have disobeyed a single instruction. Go to my people and get a wife for my son. Now, Eliezer got to the people of Abraham and saw Rebekah. Now, you know the story. Then he came to a point where he wants to leave, that he's going with Rebekah. And they said, no, let's call the damsel, let's call the girl and hear from her. And they called Rebekah. And they said, Rebekah, will thou go with this man? Because it's you that is going to the marriage. It is you that is going in this journey. It is you that knows going to whatever the end is going to be. It's you that is going to bear the consequences. And they asked Rebekah and said, Rebekah, will thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. So Rebekah took a decision for herself, believing God, that God, who controls the affairs of men, will give her a better ending. That God will give her a glorious ending. Rebekah had faith in God. Why? Because Eliezer told them and said, God has blessed my master Abraham. And they know very well. And because Rebekah heard of God, she obeyed, knowing that God, who has blessed Abraham, will give her a glorious ending. And she followed. And Rebekah said, I will go. Decision determines your end. Whatever decision you're making determines your end. And so I bring you a word from the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. Why do they hid the rage? Why do they hid the rage? Why do they imagine a vain thing? Have you not heard? Have you not known that I, the Lord, I changed not? Have you not heard? Have you not known that I, the Lord, I am a consuming fire? Why do they hid the rage? Why do the people imagine a vain thing? Why do they imagine a vain thing? I say, why do they hid the rage? Why do they imagine a vain thing? Why do they hid the rage? Of course, you can see that in Psalm 2 from verse 1. That's how the Lord was responding to Satan the devil. When he rose up against me, the Lord stood on my behalf. And so the Lord was answering, and they replying Satan the devil for what the enemy was planning against me. The Lord said, why do they imagine a vain thing? Why do they heed the rage? Why do they imagine a vain thing? Why? Why do they heed the rage? Imagine the vain thing. Imagine the vain thing. A gathering for who? A gathering for what? A gathering for who? Why do they heed the rage? Why do they imagine a vain thing? A gathering for what? A gathering for who? You know, they gathered against me. Without my knowledge, they gathered against me. But the Lord, who has given me his mandate, is replying Satan on my behalf. That's why he's answering them. A gathering for who? A gathering for what? A gathering for who? A gathering for what? To silence who? A gathering for what? Have you not heard? Have you not known? Have you not been told that except I, the Lord, permitted a thing, it will not come to pass? Have you not known? Have you not heard? Have you not been told that nothing, I say nothing, will happen to anyone that I, the Lord, have chosen without my permission? Have you not heard? Have you not known? Have you not been told that nothing, that all power belongs to me? That you can see, Psalm 62 verse 11. God has spoken once, twice have I heard, that all power belongeth unto God. Say, why do they heed the rage? Why do they imagine a vain thing? To silence the mouth. The mouth that I have given. To silence the mouth that I have given. Why do they heed the rage? Why, I say, why do they heed the rage? They have imagined evil things. They have imagined something they thought they will be able to achieve. But without my permission, without my approval, without my direction, no one will touch that which belongs to me. No one. I say no one. Without my permission, you have not been permitted. Without my permission, it will not be granted. Without my permission, it will not happen. Without my approval, it cannot happen. And that is why they only imagine a vain thing. They are only gathering. They are only gathering a vain thing. They only imagine a worthless thing. Because of what? I will ask. Because of what? I will ask. I said because of what? Because of what? To silence the mouth. That they will not be heard anymore. To silence the mouth. So that they will not be heard anymore. To silence the mouth. No. Except I permit you. You will not carry out your mission. Except I give you the direction. You will not carry out your mission. But it is too late. That is why I call it a vain thing. A vain thing because it will not be granted to you. It will not be permitted. It is a purpose. Hear the Lord now. He's answering Satan the devil. It is a purpose for a time like this that I have made him. It is because of the time like this that is why I have made him. He said, it is because of a time like this. That is why I have made him. I have made him for a purpose like this. I have made him for a time like this. A purpose like this. I have kept him for a purpose like this. I have kept him for such a time like this. That is why I have kept him all this while. To fulfill this time. To fulfill this purpose. To fulfill this mandate. And therefore, all your gathering is in vain. And therefore, all your gathering is in vain. And therefore, all your gathering is in vain. That is why I say, you are imagining a vain thing. You have imagined a vain thing. And that is why I said in my word, touch not my anointed, and do my prophet no harm. Touch not. I have declared him, touch not. I have declared him, touch not. I have declared him, touch not. He will fulfill that which I have said. He will fulfill the purpose why I kept him. He will fulfill the mandate. He has been reserved from the foundation of the world. He will fulfill that which I have said. He will fulfill the mandate he has been sent. You may bring your strong reason. You may bring your strong argument. But I said in my word, I have shown mercy to whom I will show mercy. I will show mercy to whom I will show mercy. And I will have pardon. I will pardon who I want to pardon. I will show mercy to whom I will show mercy. I will show compassion to whom I will show compassion. Your gathering will not be granted. Your request will not be granted. The battle belongs to me. I, the Lord, the battle belongs to me. I will fight. Why are you gathering? Your gathering is in vain. Your gathering is in vain. So far I am not with you. Your gathering is in vain. So far I am not with you. Your gathering is in vain. I will fight. The battle belongs to me. The battle is of the Lord. And I will fight for them. I will fight for them. They may not qualify for it. They may not qualify for what I have given them. They may not qualify for what they have been given. But my mercy, I say, I will show mercy to whom I will show mercy. I will show compassion to whom I will show compassion. For I, the Lord, I use the unqualified to qualify things that are not supposed to be important. Everything belongs to me. Everything I created belongs to me. And I use anyone I want at any time. Anytime. The purpose for it. Anytime. I want to use any of my creatures. Anything that belongs to me. Anytime I want to make use of it. No man. I say no man. No power. I say no power. Nothing. No one can dispute over it. No one. I say I have the power to take whatsoever I want. I have the power to use whatsoever and whosoever I want to use. That is why when the donkey was there, you remember that donkey, losing and bringing. When the donkey was there, no one recognized the existence of that donkey. And I said, lose it. I want to make use of it. I said, lose it. And I want to make use of it. It has been there. No one knows. But it was kept there for a purpose by which it was used. And therefore, it was fulfilled. It was fulfilled. It was fulfilled. No one argued over it. No one argued over it. There was no argument over it. Whether I have the power or the right to use it, I have the power and the right to use whichever I want to use. I have the power and the right to use whatsoever I want to use. I have the power. I have the power. As a creator, I have the power over all. I have the power, and my mandate will be fulfilled. And my mandate will be fulfilled in such a time like this. My mandate will be fulfilled. My mandate will be fulfilled. Nothing will stop it. I say nothing will stop it. I say nothing will stop it. I say nothing, no power, no man, nothing will stop my mandate. Nothing will stop what I have started. Nothing will stop no man. I will continue the warning until the last day. I will continue the warning until the last day. I will continue the warning until the last day, so that no one will have excuse. So that no one will have excuse that I was not told. So that no one will say, I did not hear. I will continue the warning. I will continue the warning. And he that has ears, let him hear. I will continue the warning, so that no one will say, I didn't know. So that no one will say, I did not hear. So that no one will say, I was not told. I will continue the warning. Whether you care to listen or not, my warnings will continue. My warnings will continue. And no one can stop it. No one. The mandate is unstoppable. The mandate is unstoppable. The mandate is unstoppable. I am the only one that has the power to stop it at any time. I am the only one that has the power to stop it at any time. For when the time and the fulfillment of all things shall come, then it will be all over. When the time and the fulfillment of all things shall come, then it will be all over. That is Luke chapter 21, verse 24. When the time of the fulfillment of all things shall come, then it shall be all over. I say, when the time and the fulfillment of all things shall come, then it will be all over. The warnings will continue. The warnings will continue until when the fulfillment of all things shall come. When the fulfillment of all things shall come, then it will be all over. No one will say, I was not told. And no one will say, I didn't hear. There is fulfillment. There is time for the fulfillment of everything. There is time for the fulfillment of everything. Whenever I say a thing, there is always a time of fulfillment. Whenever I say a thing, there is always a time for fulfillment until the fulfillment and the time of all my plans, of all my programs, of all my purpose. No man can stop it. No one can stop it until the time of fulfillment comes. Until the time of fulfillment comes. Until the time of fulfillment comes. Until the time of fulfillment comes, which will not be far from now. Which will not be far from now. Get it right. Which will not be far from now. The time of fulfillment, which will not be far from now. He said, which will not be long. The time of fulfillment of all things shall soon come. The time and fulfillment of all things. The time of fulfillment of all things. All things I have been saying. All things I have said. All the plans. All the purpose. All the plans. The time of fulfillment shall soon come. When it comes, no one will say, I didn't hear. No one will give an excuse. And of course, on that day, there will be no chance for excuse. And of course, on that day, there will be no room for excuse. Of course, on that day, the decision will be decided. Of course, on that day, there will be no permission. There will be no excuse that will be enough why you did not make it to the other side or why you made it to the other side. No excuse will be permitted. That day, there will be no room for any explanation. There will be no room for permission. There will be no room for explanation. It is either you are here or you are there. On that day, one thing is certain. On that day, one thing is certain. Every decision you will decide. On that day, the decision you choose will be given, will be decided on that day. The power to choose will be decided on that day. And there will be no room for second chance. There will be no room for second chance. There will be no room for excuse. There will be no room for amendment. There will be no room for such, I repeat. On that day, there will be no room for second chance. There will be no room for amendment. There will be no room for permission to either choose. There will be no room for any excuse. It is what you choose that will be granted unto you. It is what you choose that will be granted unto you. It is the choice that you made, the choice that you make right now. The choice that you make right now will be granted unto you. The choice on that day, the choice that you are making now, the decision that you have been making all this while, your decision will determine your end. Your decision will determine your end. Whatever that you have decided or you have chosen will determine which way you will go. There will be no room for any excuse. There will be no room for any excuse, for any permission. No. And that is why you know that you have choice. Choice have been placed before you. Choice have been placed before you. You are to choose one, either life or death. You are to choose only one, either life or death. You are to choose one. You cannot say you are not told. You cannot say I was blind. You cannot say I didn't know which one to choose. It has been placed before you, right before you. And you know life and death have been placed before you. Good and evil have been placed before you. Said, therefore, anyone you choose determines your end. Anyone you choose determines your end. And one thing about decision, listen, in this decision, no one choose for anyone. You choose by yourself. You choose your own. You don't choose for another. You don't choose for another one. No. You don't choose for anyone. No. Everyone is permitted to choose whatsoever he or she wants or like. And that is why I said in my word that the soul that sinneth shall die. Ezekiel 18 verse 3. The soul that sinneth shall die. When it comes to sin, you don't sin on behalf of someone. You don't sin on behalf of someone. It is he that sinned that will receive the punishment. Likewise, when you want to choose, it is what you choose that will be given to you. It is the decision that you make. What you have chosen will be given to you. When you choose life, life will be given to you. When you choose death, death will be given to you. There is no exchange. There is no exchange hereafter. No permission for exchange. Hear me and hear me well. Hear me and hear me well now. You that want to make decision on any side. You want to make decision on any side. Hear me and hear me now. Hear me and hear me now. Whatever that you choose, whichever way you choose, determines your end for eternity. Whatever you choose determines your end for eternity. Whichever way you choose determines your end for eternity. And that is why there is a broad way, and that is why there is a narrow way. You don't choose for anyone. Which way you choose determines your end, and there is no exchange thereafter. No, there is no permission to exchange later. No permission. No permission is given. If you miss it, you have missed it all. Anyone you choose, when the fulfillment of all things shall come, it will determine the end of everyone. When the fulfillment of time shall come, which the time of separation, when the time of separation shall come, listen, when the time of separation shall come, there will be no second chance for separation again. There will be no second time for separation again. When time for separation, that's Matthew chapter 25, you see that from verses 32. He said, when the time of separation shall come, so there will be no second chance. Separation will be according to the decision of everyone. And when you choose, it is what will be given to you. In both roads, the broad way and the narrow way, it is a decision. And their lifestyle is different. Listen, and their lifestyle is different. How do I mean by their lifestyle is different? What the broad way wants is opposite of what the narrow way wants. And that is why I said in my word that the flesh and the spirit, they are in contrast. Galatians chapter 5 verse 17. They are in contrast. And that is the same way. The broad way and the narrow way are not the same. Their lifestyles are different. What they do are opposite to each other. And that is why I said the broad way, many are following there. The broad way, many are following there. And they are following there to destruction. They are following there to destruction. Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 through 14 tells you about the broad way and the narrow way. They don't know the end or where they are going. But it is their decision. While you're alive, it is when you have the opportunity to make amend. But when you have reached, when the fulfillment of everything has come, there will be no chance of amendment. There will be no chance to change your decision anymore. And just very few have chosen the narrow way. Very few have chosen the narrow way. Very few have chosen the narrow way. Very few. It is only few. When you get to the end, if everyone knows what will be the end of his or her life of eternity, then they will understand better. They will know the decision. They will make the right choice. But because your end is determined by I, the Almighty, no one knows his or her end. No one. You know why? The reason why it is hidden from everyone is that you will learn. You will learn how to obey. You will learn how to obey. So that you will learn how to obey. The two sides have been placed before you, side by side. You have been told the consequences of all. If you choose, it is now your decision, not to be blamed by anyone. It is that your decision is what you choose will be given to you. It's what you choose will be given to you now. And that is why I keep on warning. I keep on warning you. Don't be deceived. Matthew chapter 24 verse 4. Don't be deceived by anyone, because the deceiver wants many people. The reason why many people are following the broad way, the broad road, why many people are following the broad way is because many have been deceived. Many have been deceived. That word, many have been deceived. They were blinded not to know the end of what they are doing. They have been deceived by Satan, the devil, the same way he deceived Eve in the garden. That is how he keeps on deceiving people till today. And when he deceived them, he will now change my word to say it is not true. Because when one is deceived, then you believe a lie instead of truth. That is a spirit of delusion. You see in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 9 through 12. I say, when one is deceived, you believe a lie instead of the truth. That is one of the consequences of being deceived. They have been deceived. That the road, the way they are following is a normal way. But they don't know that the way they are following is not. They don't know the end of what they are doing. They don't know. I keep on warning. Don't allow anyone to deceive you. Your choice determines your end. And very soon, many of the Broadway followers will cry, had I known. Broadway followers is what fool everywhere. Broadway followers is what fool everywhere. You know, one of the reasons why they are deceived is because the person they are following is also on the Broadway. The person they are following is also on the Broadway. Therefore, if they are following I, the Almighty, they will be on the narrow way. But because the person they are following, because the person they are receiving instruction from, the person they are obeying, determines where they will end. Satan, the devil, is their leader. Satan, the devil, is their leader. Those that are in the Broadway, that is their leader. And as he is deceiving them, they are following him. They have so many of them in sheep clothing, deceiving so many. So many of them in sheep clothing, deceiving so many people, deceiving so many. They will be in sheep clothing because the enemy, I said, they have disguised themselves as the angels of light, but not knowing. Those that are blind in the spirit, they will not see them. They will disguise themselves as the angel of light in sheep clothing. Wolves in sheep clothing. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 14 and 15 tells us that the enemy has disguised himself as an angel of light. He said, and in sheep clothing, and they are leading many to the destruction. They are leading many to the Broadway, and they are leading many. And as they are following, they will follow them to the destruction. Only very few, especially those people that are worshiping the creature more than the creator, they are already on the Broadway. How will you know that? They don't obey my word. They obey their follower. They obey their leader. They prefer to obey their leader rather to obey my word. And I have been calling I have been standing on the door and knocking, calling them, warning them, giving them different signals, but yet they are being adamant, and yet they refuse to hear instructions. They refuse to hear instructions, yet they refuse to turn back, yet they refuse to heed the warning, and yet they refuse to obey. And since they refuse to obey, when the fulfillment of all things shall come, when the calamity will befall on them, and when they began to receive the consequence of what they have chosen, I, the Almighty, will laugh at them, at their calamity, when they will realize they have been deceived. Proverbs chapter 1, verses 24 to 26 tells us that the Lord will laugh at your calamity because He stretched forth His hand and you refuse to obey. That's exactly what the Lord is telling you. He said, I will laugh at their calamity, the end of what they have chosen. By then, they will call, I will not answer. Proverbs chapter 1, verses 27-28 tells us, by that time you will call, God will not answer. That's why I say, by then, they will call, I will not answer. By then, they will try to make amends, but it will be too late. By then, they want to turn back. They want to change. They want to obey, but it will be too late. He said, when the fulfillment of time shall come, when the fulfillment of all things shall come, whatsoever you choose, remain your decision for eternity. Whatsoever you choose, remain your decision for eternity. For after death, no more repentance. For when the fulfillment of all things, when the separation is over, I say, when the separation is over, there will be no second chance for separation. There will be no second chance for another separation. There will be no second chance for another separation. Then you will stay and receive. The decision you have made, the decision you have made will determine where you will be. The decision you are making now, the way you are following now, will determine your end. Whatsoever you are doing now, the way you are doing now, and whatever you are doing now, the things that you are doing now matters a lot. For if you know you have but a limited time, then you'll be more serious. What you are doing now, you'll be more serious. No one, there is no dual citizen. Listen and listen good. There is no dual citizen. When it comes to eternity, it is here on earth. You claim you are dual citizen. One can be a citizen of one or two countries. But when it comes to eternity, there is no dual citizenship. No, not at all. And now, you are still one leg here, one leg there. Decision here, decision there. Decide now which way you will follow. Decide now where you will be. Decide now. Make your final decision now. For very soon shall be the fulfillment of all things. For very soon shall be the fulfillment of all things. For very soon shall be the fullness of all things. Romans 11:25. The fullness of the Gentiles. For very soon shall be the fullness of all things. Fullness of all things. Fullness. Fullness means the final. Fullness means the final. The final. The final of all things. The end of all things. The end of all things. Make your decision now. No one will choose for you. You have the right to be given to each and every one. You have the right to make his or her decision now, so that when your end shall come, you have no one to blame, because the decision that you make now determines your end. The decision that you make now determines your end. The decision that you make now determines your end. The decision that you make now, make your decision now, because any moment shall be the fullness of all things. Any moment shall be the fullness of all things. Romans 11:25. The fullness of the times of the Gentiles, that is the end of the Gentiles. And the end of the Gentiles ends in the rapture. That's what the Lord is saying. Any moment from now, Any moment from now, people of God, any moment from now, brothers and sisters, any moment from now, thus saith the Lord, shall be the fullness of all things. Shall be the fullness of all things. Any moment from now, from wherever you are hearing me from, any moment from now shall be the fullness of all things. Amend your ways. Prepare yourself. Get yourself prepared, for the time is at hand. The time is at hand. The fullness of all things is at hand. God bless you. Amen.